The next thing to discuss is how to ask questions in the correct way, be it asking a mentor, Stack Overflow, GitHub Copilot, or ChatGPT. Knowing what to ask is key. This can be difficult considering you may not know enough to know what you don't know. So how do we approach asking questions to get the best possible solution in the most efficient way? This brings us to the XY problem. The XY problem is a communication problem encountered in help desk, technical support, software engineering, or customer service situations where the question is about an end user's attempted solution, X, rather than the root problem itself, Y. So, in this case, this person is asking, how can I stick chairs together? And the other person is saying, we have tape, but why? Like, what for? So this person is asking how to stick these chairs together on top of this table. That is their solution, but they're really trying to grab the balloon. And what they should have asked is, how do I get this balloon from the ceiling? And this person would have said, with a stepladder, obviously, because that's what it's for, right? How do we avoid the XY problem? 1. Always include information about a broader picture with any attempted solution. Context will usually help the person you're asking, help understand why you're trying the solution, helping us know what you're really trying to do. The path here is what you're doing, then it goes to why you're doing it, and then we understand what you need to do. Next is if someone asks for information, provide those details. This may seem obvious, but we only know what you tell us. Saying, my code doesn't work, gives us no information, but reading the error will. However, this does have a downside. Most language compilers / interpreters can't tell what you're trying to do. So it'll give us a really basic and often unknowingly unhelpful error. We will go into detail on how to read those errors and call stacks properly. Then this brings us to number 3. If there are other solutions you have already ruled out, share why you've ruled them out. This is similar to number 1 because it again provides context for us. You may have ruled them out for one of two different reasons. Either they really don't work for what you're trying to do, or perhaps you haven't learned how to use it yet. Don't knock it till you try it is really important. You may have skipped over the correct tool because you don't quite understand it yet. Instead of going to X, ask why. This is why it's called the XY problem. It's a little pun, haha. The XY problem is solved when we go to the root problem. This person should have asked, how do I get the balloon from the ceiling? Not, how do I stick these chairs together? Let's go to a real-world example. How do I get the last 3 characters of a string? Oh, that's supposed to say last 3. Oh well. You give them this solution. Const get last 3 characters equals you pass in the string and you return the string that slice -3. Yeah, this could be some condensed a little bit, but yeah, you get the last 3 characters. Okay, so to understand this code, the string.slice3 or -3, basically that's starting at the third to last index and then going to 0. 0 is always implied, or the last is always implied. Then they add, now they ask for 4 because something in their code needed it. And they add another function for this. And they just copy and paste and change it a little bit. Get last 4 characters. And you have this string and you have -4. It's the same kind of code. But you have 2 functions that are basically serving the same purpose. And you look at it and you go, you should make a dynamic function like this. So get last cars are characters. Yeah, you can abbreviate that a little bit. And you have your string and then the number, and then you return string/slice number, or the negative number. That works. That works really well. And it's adaptive to whatever you need. But this is trying to solve what their attempted solution is. What do you think the real thing they're trying to solve is here? They really should be asking, how do I get this extension using X? So this is their method, get last cars. This is what they would do. Okay, so instead of get last cars, it'd be get extension. And so, I'm sorry, no, we'd have two different functions. One would be get last cars and then get extension. We would get the last index of the period, and then we would get the last cars, which would be the string. We'd pass in the string, and then get the position of the last 3 characters. And now we return get last cars of that. The thing is, this takes up a lot of code for something incredibly simple. Like, it can likely be simplified a lot. But there's something that I want to add here. Simplification and condensing are 2 different things. Just because you can turn it into one line of code doesn't mean it's simpler. So, for example, up here, I could get rid of these brackets and get rid of the return statement. I could curry this, potentially. I abbreviated that, yeah. That decreased the function name, but that didn't simplify it. Logically, it's still the same. I could, instead of get last cars, I could just take this and put it inside of here and do the same logic. And instead of assigning last index of to a const, I could literally just take this, put it inside of here, and take all of that information and put it inside of that pose. But again, that's not changing the logic, which is really what simplifying means. So that's just abbreviating or condensing, and often that makes it more difficult to read. So let's simplify this. Understanding why you're trying to get the last character of the string is very helpful. So how do we get this extension? Understanding why, instead of using their attempted solution. Well, you can use string.split, which turns it into an array. You split it based on the periods, and you pop, which pop takes the last index, the last element, and returns it, and mutates the original array, getting rid of the last element. Or you can just use a package that deals with file names and paths. I mean, that's literally what it's for. So you just do path.xNameString. So that information, or there's stuff already out there that you could be using. So 9 times out of 10, when you're trying to solve a problem, look online, you'll probably find the solution. That's the moral of the story here. Also, how to ask questions properly. Ask why you're trying to solve the problem, not what your attempted solution is.